agenda setup, the order of when we ask for public information.
Could you speak a little louder? We can't hear you back here.
The initial public hearing tonight is for an ordinance change of Chapter 1, Section 1-15, the order of business pertaining to amend the setup, agenda setup. We're trying to determine if we should have the open discussion at the beginning of the meeting instead of at the end. So if people have input, they give it to us before we make decisions on what we're going to do. Does anybody in the audience want to put some input quick, or?
Yeah, I would just say that I think it should be at the beginning so that if somebody has something they want to say about an agenda item, they can say it, like you said, before you guys go.
Anybody else?
Is it time for the public to speak?
No, I'm not. She's wanting to address the board.
Not yet, not until we get to the regular board
okay.
meeting.
I thought that's what you meant.
Well, this is just for this one item.
You gotta do roll call.
I can't hear.
This is just for this one item, Nancy.
You have to do
Not the
call to
general.
order.
I did that already.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
Did he?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
No.
You even said here, you said here before you called the roll call.
You were talking to me, I'm sorry, take that back.
That's my fault too.
Okay. Yeah, you disturbed me. Okay.
Do we have a motion, what you want to do with the board meeting?
I'll make a motion, we move it to the beginning.
I'll second. And it's also on the agenda itself to make that motion.
I think you got to put it, you got to make a decision at a regular meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
I can move it, and this is just basically for the public to discuss on what they think should be done.
Okay.
So,
We need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
What is the second part of this? There's one to change, like, the agenda setup, and the other one is the ordinance change for the public input, which is kind of the same thing.
It's the same
But there's
thing.
two different sections in the code that covers it, that's really different.
now, is the public hearing, is that for the time, or is it?
Which one are you talking about? It's the same.
For both.
Yeah, it's really the same thing for both of
Same
them.
thing.
Because I couldn't find anything in the ordinance for as far as the time limit goes, so,
There never was.
yeah.
No, they just randomly set one for 3 minutes, which is fine, they can do that.
All right.
And they take away when they want. Do I have a second for adjournment?
Second, James, second.
Sandy, yes.
Jenny, yes.
Richard, yes. Town of Tryon Board of Trustees special meeting for June 12, 2025. 608 First Baptist Church at 122 North First Street, Tryon, Oklahoma. Call to order, roll call.
Sandy here.
James here.
Jenny here.
Richard here. Item 3, consideration action on consent agenda. 3-1 or 3.1, approval of the minutes of April 17th and May 6th, 2025.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes for April 17th of 2025.
James, second.
Jenny, yes.
Nathan, yes.
Richard, yes. May 6th, do you make a motion?
I make a motion to approval of the minutes for May 6, 2025.
Sandy abstains, I was absent.
Nathan, second.
Richard, yes.
Jenny, yes.
3.2, approval of monthly department head reports.
The
how many citations were issued last month? Just as traffic here, it doesn't say what if there were citations or warnings.
I know that there were 24 citations issued for Click It or Ticket, which was worked in conjunction with Oklahoma Highway Safety Department. But outside of that, I don't have those numbers with me. Upwards of 24. It was a good month last month.
Thank you.
Chief McGill did want me to address one issue. That's with checks and payment. They've been consistently months behind. We received April in the middle of May. We haven't received a check for May, and we're in the middle of June, and we have to receive June date.
Yeah, I talked to Melissa today about getting those taken care of, like stuff on them with the other clerks being out.
You guys talk about when those,
Yeah, yeah.
when are we planning to have that?
One was gonna be wrote today, and then, the other one in the next, probably within the next 2 weeks to get us caught up, and then we'd be back on schedule.
And can you discuss this with the Iowa Tribe clerk?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Melissa.
I didn't know who Melissa was.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Is that answer your question?
There's none, yes, sir. All right. Anything else from us?
Nope.
All right, thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Fire department had one structure fire, one run.
This is utility POS.
There's no library and Leslie's not here, right?
Yeah, library.
We have a library.
Oh, the one.
It's in your
Last one.
So I have a couple questions, Janelle. So, again, I was looking on the website hours, and I know I mentioned this last time. Is there any way on the website we can put down which Tuesday and which Saturday so people know?
I can.
Okay. And then you also had said that you're in the process of taking requests for books. How do we know what books we already have so people know what to
So
request?
we use ResourceMate, which I want to get a new system, but when we moved, we were in the middle of going through and doing our entire system from top to bottom again, because we were changing the way that they were organized. And some of them weren't even in the system and were just on the shelves, or the barcodes weren't scanning properly. So we were in the middle of doing that when we had to move. So until we get into the new building, we're kind of at a standstill about putting the new books in the system. But once we're in the new building and all the books are handled, I want to just switch to a new system. But right now, it's ResourceMate.
I'm not familiar with that one. Is that just like a database
Yeah.
that just you go into? It's not anything that we can make public facing or anything?
It's just a circulation database.
Okay.
We're gonna do the monthly department head report.
I make a motion that we approve, well, we have to do them separate, the police department report.
James, second.
No, we just said the police department.
Yeah.
Jenny, yes.
Nathan, yes.
Richard, yes.
I make a motion that we accept the fire department's
James,
report.
James, second.
Jenny, yes.
Nathan, yes.
Richard, yes.
Before we do the library, though, I had one other question. So under the totals for the replacement values, you have e-resources down. What are those including? Like $1,700 in e-resources?
So it is our Wi-Fi, our hotspots, our laptops, and I believe it's also some audiobooks, but
Okay.
I have no idea how to access those. They were bought before I was at the library, so.
Okay. How is your summer program going?
So summer feeding was good. We had 50 boxes given to us, and we got 48 sent out with kids. And we just got another delivery of 50 today. Our summer reading program doesn't start until the 18th.
Do you have a lot of people signed up for it, or?
It's not sign up, it's just whoever wants to show up, but
Oh,
it's
nice.
here, and we've got the schedule put out. And I know I've had at least 4 parents come up and say, hey, I really want to put the kid in, so hopefully we're gonna have some pretty good turnout.
Good.
But I just got all of the, tabs.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. I make a motion, we accept the library's head report.
James, second.
Jenny, yes.
Nathan, yes.
No action on Leslie?
No, Leslie hasn't got back from me with any updates or anything like that.
Do we know yet what all grants we have in the works or anything, since you
No,
haven't
that's
been
what,
here?
the last I talked to her, that's what I asked her for a list of kind of what the standings are. There's one grant that was like $10,000, that she said that we could use like with the building, that was the last, turn in paperwork that they had sent me, like, wrap it up. I haven't had any updates since then.
Because I remember when I was sitting back there, they were talking about, things for the roads and for the water and.
Yeah.
Do you know, is she just busy on the nights that we have the meetings and why she doesn't show up?
I'm not for sure, I haven't been able to get consistent, I think she's been busy, and that's why she hasn't contacted me as much as she used to. I do have her number, I can call her, usually just use email, so I can have the documentation, but.
Yeah.
So maybe give her a call and
Yeah, she
to
was
see
there.
where she stands with all that.
Monthly financial reports, 3.3.1.
All handy money.
With our payroll service, who is 6UKA? I don't know what that.
Let's see, what's that at?
There's one of them, third from the bottom, and there's another one halfway up, just says payroll service 6UKA.
That's just how it's in the system.
Yeah.
Like when they send,
What does that stand for?
it's just, I have no idea.
Oh.
That's just when they do ACHs and pull stuff out of our bank or put our, like, build our taxes, that's just what it shows up on our ACH, so that's what we put it into QuickBooks, so the records match up.
And is that QuickBooks that does our payroll?
Sure payroll does.
Sure, okay.
I said QuickBooks, so I meant sure payroll.
So we're payroll services, we're paying $4,000.
Yeah, that's not the payroll, that's like everybody's payroll.
So why don't we have that broke down on what we're paying each individual?
Because we have it's automatically deposited now, so when
Yeah.
it started a year ago, it wasn't, that's just,
Okay.
we can't break it down into QuickBooks,
Yeah,
or it messes the
Well-
deposits and everything.
Is
up.
it possible to get a separate report that has the employees and?
What we talked about right before you guys took your seat is just print out a payroll summary and attach it to the PO of the ACH, so then that has all the details of everything that will match the,
yeah, I just wanna see what we're paying each individual.
yeah.
I mean, that way we know what
Yeah, the payroll
this money's
summary will
going
break down.
to, so.
Yeah.
As far as we know, we're paying someone $4,000, and I don't know what for, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, just ignore that card in my driveway, James.
So maybe
So,
next month. we
yeah,
can
next month.
start Doing that.
Yeah, next month, make sure that's on there.
Okay.
Also,
Well, it won't be on these reports, because I can't separate it.
separate, yeah.
Yeah.
I just want something separate, that way we know who's getting what.
Mhm.
So the Kimberly, the mileage,
Which one was
well, you
that?
got the March 2025 for $258.
Yeah.
What page are you on?
Is it March and April combined for
Six.
$260?
Is that what they tell me? Are you on on the utility side or the town side?
It's on the town. I was like, shouldn't they be on the town side or the utility
No,
side?
because I pay for all of that stuff, and then that side reimburses me, so it'll initially show up on mine.
So,
before I get reimbursed.
for $258, where'd she go?
She's running, I have to pull up that specific one to get everything, but she runs the Accurate and drops testing off. She was running, the mail into Stillwater or Perkins, or she was doing utility errands, whatever that may be at the time. I'd have to pull up the documentation
So,
to see what that
this
covers.
post office here don't work?
We were having problems with this post office when we dropped the mail off here. It was taking a month or 2 months for the customers to get bills because of issues once they sent it to Oklahoma City or also wherever they processed it. So she was trying to see if putting it in a different post office, either Perkins or Stillwater, would get it to the customers in a more timely manner. So that's why she had permission from all of the last board to try that, to see if that would help.
Did it work?
Yes.
They're still working this first around.
Yeah,
so
they're-
they don't have it on the city.
Do we have mileage reports or anything you guys?
Yeah,
fill
it's
out?
attached to the POs, the checks. They won't be
I
in
just have
here.
an issue
No, I
paying
mean,
someone
like number of miles.
$258.
Yes, it's on, the check that I wrote, the mileage is attached to the PO.
Sorry, what?
The mileage check is attached, or the mileage log is attached to the PO that's in the office.
Okay.
So the issue I have is paying someone $258 per mileage.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. We have a utility person that's supposed to take the Accurate labs.
Which I brought up at the April
Yes.
meeting, that was the utilities operator's job, not
Yeah,
Kimberly's.
and they were told then that to not do that, and she was handing it over, and then they had to put it over. So it just happened with.
I mean, it just, like I said, we got a post office here. $258 per mileage is just outrageous.
What do we, do we pay per mile or? What is our?
It's 70 cents per mile.
It's a total rate, so that was for 365 miles.
That's a lot. That'd be like 10 trips to Stillwater.
And there's a couple months in there that we were having to take multiple tests with a lot of customers that were accurate. We had to do full testing center.
he didn't locate anything, he just went and I think it's here in Mark. We even showed him those lines were down at Dad. And he says, no, the map shows them over here. And I said, that line is not over there. I said, right here's the water valve, right here's the water line. He goes, no, it's not. And I said, it goes right in front of Dad's house. He marked it, come out in the middle of the street, and they hit it 4 times in front of Dad's house.
I wondered why they kept hitting the line so bad.
Because they wasn't local. And then we paid for most of it on the budget. That's all our shutdown,
Well,
wear and tear on our citizens.
which you can't blame the fact that people blame the line and all that. Hey, if you tell me it's here, it's not here, and I did here, and I did it, that's not my fault.
Right.
But yeah, that's,
I don't know how to get that guy, we owed like 30.
But the next problem with,
I don't know where that, I haven't heard anything.
I'm gonna let you all in on a little secret on water utilities. Everywhere that point repairs was done, it's now a weak spot in our system too. And so that's future repairs, it's gonna be over and over and over. Those repairs will go out, because they're only done in a hurry, in a muddy ditch,
Well,
just as fast as they
there's,
can.
there's.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, it was accurate.
That's a lot of money.
That, back when some of that was going on, they hauled, that's a dump truck after dump truck load of stuff down there in the lagoon. He said he didn't know what it was, but he said it was like a train.
Really?
A dump truck's going through our lagoon. And so I don't know if they put gravel down there or let somebody dump trash down there. What does it have to do? I haven't really, it might play the run, so that's been several months ago.
Yeah.
And I thought we wasn't gonna put nothing out here because of church anymore.
They requested us not to.
And there's been 2 vehicles parked out
It
there
was
tonight.
just the jar a little bit. Yeah, I noticed it.
Was you here for that meeting?
Which one?
The one that wasn't gonna park anything, leave anything parked in front of churches anymore? Because it partially blocks the street and the sidewalk?
No, I thought I did everyone. Of course, I did live with it today.
That's been quite a while back.
Yeah, it's been a
Oh,
long
yeah,
while.
see, I just
Yeah.
started coming later.
Yeah,
But magically it started being left over here again.
Right. Well, I know it was, I think what really was kind of the straw that broke the count back was the code enforcement truck. This first spot, right there, was always there. I think that was kind of the,
Like if you look at the
Culprit
water
that made
utilities
it.
truck right now, the front bumpers come on the sidewalk,
Yeah,
the back
it's-
bumpers come out in the street.
there's not.
Because it's too big for her.
It's not, that's not really made for parking out there.
No,
And
it
they-
really isn't.
And they parked it at City Hall for 4 months, and then all of a sudden it was back over here.
Yeah, I don't know why they couldn't park it over there. It's not like Phillips and calling them a vehicle.
Well, and the other vehicles are parked over there. And the next thing is the PD hangs out stuff over there. So it's kind of looked after and stuff. They was letting me drive it home. This last employee before, he was a gambler, pushing you in
Yeah,
it.
and that's, unfortunately, that's what they run into almost every time. is the person
And-
that drives the company that
And
does
it's like
it.
the city of Stillwater running the same problem, so no city vehicles. If you're not on the clock, you're not the city vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, that's.
Well, I like my buddy with my phone. Well, where's he getting his phone? You know, stuff like that.
I would really love to see us have a founders day, something.
It's
The
been-
last one was 10 years ago, so
Yeah.
it's there.
Well, They done a Founder's Day, but they done it under the church since then. And it was a real bad flop.
I didn't hear, I've been here for, we just bought our house 3 years ago this month.
Yeah, I wanna say about 5 years ago, they done one up there.
Yeah.
And it was a really bad flop. And they scheduled the same time Perkins was having theirs.
And I think that was a lot of it too.
Yeah.
A lot of
I know we'd help. There's quite a few people.
I mean, you got all that oil field equipment up there on Main Street and stuff. You got some of the other buildings in sad shape up there. That hotel's caving in now.
It hasn't before now.
The roof blew off of it in a bad storm
Yeah.
3 or 4 years ago. And I offered to buy it and fix the roof. And he said, no, I'm gonna fix the roof, and he never did. But it's awful.
Does, Tim Scott, is he in that?
Yeah,
one
Tim
too?
Potter owns
I think he owns all of that, doesn't he?
Yeah, everything,
Except Town Hall? and-
yeah, everything's at Town Hall.
Yeah, cause we owned the one that used to be, that moved down first, not that
Yeah.
first, but the second one, and we sold it to Tim Potter. Well, before he did that.
Well, Leo, yeah.
Mhm,
Well, that's like, I know that Leo paid for a bunch of that up there, and Timmy inherited it. Tim didn't buy it anyway. And I tried to buy from where Sharp's grocery store was down to the auction,
Yeah,
and he quoted me some ungodly price, and I was like, no, because I was gonna move my shop down there.
yeah.
Well, technically, I was gonna move the tire shop down there and trade Matt out of it. Because Matt was wanting to be more down on 105,
Oh, yeah, I can understand.
because that helped his business.
Oh, sure it would, yeah.
A few years ago, me and Matt was talking about that. We got a whole Timmy quote. I said, it's just an ungodly price. He's like, well, I paid $20,000 for that with the old auction building. And I said,
Which one is it?
Mutter's auction. It's the one that has the slope looking concrete stuff there closest to the hardware store. He gives, Leo gives $4,000 wouldn't give, and Timmy told him $25. No,
Oh.
because I talked to Leo about some of that years ago. Leo didn't want to sell it, I knew he did. Offered to make profit. He said, no, I'm going to keep it in case I want to sell. Which one's the color scheme on this?
I had no idea.
It's OU maroon.
First thing I was like,
Who's the OU fan? It's kind of I call it dark tan or sandal, and OU maroon. We're in OSU country. You gotta look in a little farther that way to get to OU country. Dark colors don't last long in the sun.
Yeah, they tend to.
White would have been the best choice. One, it'd be easier to cool and stuff in the summertime. Two, holds up really good in the sun. But less maintenance. Dark colors absorb a lot of heat, which it is more sun fading, and also harder on the rubber grommets and stuff because of the fire. It eats the hardware faster. That's why you see most industrial is white.
House is still low, so I'm like,
I got town cats coming down the house, killing $25 a plate.
Oh, no.
And
Just feral ones or?
my neighbor to the east of me,
Yeah. Edward?
right there at the end of Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
I've got one on the trap window right now. I don't know if to shoot it or take it to the front doorstep. Going for almost $300.
Oh, yeah.
I already shot another one. I know the other one. I've never heard talk about it before. Like, that neighbor dog come down there supposed to kill the dad's chickens that one day. Killed $250 worth of chickens. I shot it. Dad shot it. I got on Facebook and I was at work. And Dad called me and said, "Hey, I shot a dog." I said, "Describe the dog." You described the dog. And I said, "Okay, about 20 minutes later, I talked to him. I said, "Dog was trying to kill me." Called Dad back and said, "Oh, recorded. Tell him what happened. What's going on?"
Yeah, because you justified it.
And then so, then he called me back, said, "I just got off the phone with the sheriff and he's not called." And I messaged her on Facebook that we know where the dog's at and killed my chickens. And she said, "Well, don't shoot my dog. My dog doesn't know where it's at." And I said, "It's good." So she called the county sheriff, and the county sheriff showed up and said, "You need to pay him for his chickens, because his chickens are like his place and your dog is not your place."
Yeah, we do that first.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't, because if they're on the property.
Yeah, if the dad's animals wasn't on their property, it's instantly their fault.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
It's control of your own.
Yeah, I know.
And that's like,
I don't know
what's
what
a
people
chicken
have
gonna
in
tear
it,
up? It's like
what they are.
crapping on somebody's porch versus a dog that killing something. I mean, and it could have been a small child, it didn't have to be a chicken.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta look at it that way. And she was, "Well, let him out, let him have a little fun." Yeah, they went, I went 2 doors down and had a little fun.
For everybody.
She wrote out a check, county sheriff, I told her, "You need to write him a check." You better get the other dog pinned up. And Dad's had problems with the lady right next to it for a big, she went to that some big German shelter.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been over there and got several thousand chickens, and I just told her she was fine, that dog is dead.
Yeah. Mm.
That's totally Brooks house down there, something was really good in that area.
Oh, yeah.
They're redoing it.
Oh, yeah.
They put getting new siding on that down. I got most of the roof. They took all the trees out.
Really? I don't get much of anywhere besides Oklahoma, Naples, Maine. Oh.
They, I think Dad said they bought the gray house in the first tree.
Oh, yeah.
It's growed up right now. They're talking about bulldozing in, putting a double wide in.
Hmm.
Maybe another place cleaned up the back livable.
Yeah, yeah, the place next to us, people that bought it tore that house down. And
Is that the one south of it?
it's right on the corner of, what is that little street?
Oak.
And Main, yeah, it's right on the corner of Oak and Main. And they
Didn't
had.
sell like that twice? Didn't they sell it for quite a bit?
Sold it for 40s.
40s, yeah, it was quite a bit.
And we're like, 40s? You gotta be kidding. And
Well-
then they were trying to sell it, they bought it, and they put a little
looked like a foundation out there.
Yeah, they were gonna do a foundation and they put whatever that thing was, landscaping thing. And then they put a little, like a koi pond or something, and they climbed on it. And then there was a for sale sign up there. They wanted $80,000. And they came down, and they came down again, and they came down again, and then of course, then the realtor sign was gone. So, and now they've spread gravel, like they're doing some kind of foundation out there. But
That
they-
church down there on Oklahoma's for sale. Somebody said it's like $700,000.
No way. Are you kidding me? Where do people think this thing is? It's Tryon, Oklahoma, for God's sake. Oh my God, that's insane. Wow.
The, my brick house, I've got two different people looking at it, 15Ks that I want to do.
Yeah.
They're on the corner first,
Oh,
105.
yeah.
And I've got two different people looking at it, 15K. I just don't have time to work on it.
Yeah.
That's my, I bought it, I had time and stuff, and then my job changed and stuff.
Yeah.
That lumber prices.
Oh, yeah.
A year after I bought it, they went stupid. But I already bought most of the stuff to fix it. I just hadn't had time to work. Now, all that whole garage is completely full of brand new.
Really? Wow.
I hadn't bought sheetrock yet. All brand new 200 amp electric service in it and stuff.
Yeah.
Everything. Just I started on it and then.
I really would have fun to do it.
Yeah. That made me lead maintenance for the sewer still water. So
Oh, cool.
12-hour day is not on time.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And I'm on call 24/7, 365.
Oh, goodness.
And I don't have the young guys. I've got one guy. If he gets any sludge or sewer water or anything on him, oh, I gotta go. Just instant. Just, I said, there's Tyvek suit in there. He goes, what makes me sweat?
Oh, let's see. You don't have to step on you. You know, you really gonna work?
He's actually a really good worker. He's just really finicky.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, it's a bad position to be in, to be finicky.
Well, and they hired him. Man, he looks so good. Like college grad, got his master's and stuff, and just ungodly, you know, as far as what he looks on paper. Real tall, lanky, you know, goes to the gym all the time, so, you know, he looks really good and stuff. And just, oh, I don't want to get dirty. You know,
Oh, no.
but the wind's blowing wrong. I can't know if it's blowing the trash back on.
Oh, gracious.
And I come in, one side of me just solid green, he's looking at me going, yeah, you should quit. No, you get paid to mow, just go mow. I don't care if you mow one way, turn the deck off, drive back and mow again. I don't care, we get paid by the hour. He got plumb at it. I told him one day.
Oh my God, that's so weird.
Took the mower out, didn't check the tires. Another guy was running, I noticed him. He come in the shop, and the other guy left to go fast or something. So he got on the mower and shut off. And he goes up there and mows on this real steep hill, and he turns real sharp and it rolls the bead off his tire.
With tire lines.
Flat.
Right.
So he calls me and then he's taking the tire off the other mower, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm gonna take the tire off this mower for my other one. I said, no.
Girl, you're an idiot.
This goes into this long spill, and I'm like, get in the truck and we'll look at it. I said, if the tires, one of them's right back. And he goes and gets in his office. He's like, I don't want to talk. I'm like, he's like, you're treating me like a kid. And I said, I literally goes a long way if you don't work. And he goes, don't call me stupid. I didn't.
Nothing in what I said.
Oh, he was so mad. Went in and talked to Bob. Talked to Bob. I was like, I hate snowflakes. He went, have a nice day.
wanted to come also.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, I just need.
I've got this big 300-gallon tote that they put up on the shelf. They've been told,
I'm like,
really
trust
a great
me.
idea. And somebody that's experienced needs to do it. Well, one of the newer guys decided that, oh, he's gonna do it since he's working weekends and stuff, and he's not even, I don't think he's really signed off on his kids. And broke his back and almost spilled this 300-gallon tote inside of there. And they did, and they went, it's a miracle. I said, no.
That's what I have, so.
I said, that is a reportable accident, you broke the shelf right at, and then he's another operator.
Oh, yeah.
He was going to take it. And I'm like, no, if I have to buy a new shelf, I had to go 3 days after the fact, and our employee manual says you must fill out an exit report if it's a property payment within 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then he was like, sorry.
3 days has passed, they turn that thing in.
That's one after he became adult.
Nothing's come of it yet,
He didn't, he
but
goes, Mom, I'm so sorry.
I'm waiting
He's
for
like, I made the choice to not
somebody to
listen.
say so.
Yeah.
That's
So
the
what you're
right.
talking about, he's like,
Right,
I was just
exactly.
flying all over the screen.
That's one weird thing.
He's like,
about
my-
working for
he's like, my
six
brain
years.
just
It's like
wouldn't
you're back
stop.
at high school,
I was like,
getting called.
And he's probably right.
probably, yeah.
I mean, that's how I was when I was.
Allie's up, Allie's up.
Anything, they get these reports there. So they call you.
He's not eight yet.
No, that's right.
And so they talk to everybody else.
Oh,
They come to me and listen to it.
Tomorrow's Allie's appointment. They tell me, no, she's fine. And then I'm gonna cry.
Sorry, folks, we're ready to go again.
And then I'm gonna cry. Then I'm gonna cry.
I'm like, yeah, you got 5 guys standing around like, you did racing around. I'm like,
Motion to re-enter the meeting?
I make a motion, we re-enter regular meeting from executive session.
James, second.
Jenny, yes?
Nathan, yes.
Richard, yes. Consideration, discussion, action on matters discussed in the executive session. Brittney Poteet, job duties and responsibilities. No action at this time. 5.1.2, code enforcement interview and/or hire.
I make a motion at this time, we not fill that position.
James, second.
Jenny, yes?
Richard, yes. Number 8.1, consideration discussion on the ordinance change for chapter 1, section 1-15, order of business pertaining to the agenda setup. And 8.2, consideration, discussion, action on the ordinance change for public input.
I move that we change the order of business pertaining to the agenda setup to include new business. Or no, I'm sorry, to include resident input at the beginning of the meeting.
Sandy seconds.
Would that be, would that be right after roll call?
No,
Is that what
it's
you're?
after the financials and stuff. Just before we go to the,
So right before the, remove consent and then.
yep, consent.
I second.
James, yes.
Jenny, yes?
Richard, yes. Ordinance change for public input.
They were both pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Number 9, miscellaneous, consideration, discussion, action on use of the ball fields.
There's a lady that came in, a few days ago, or about a week ago actually. It was like a couple days before the original,
meeting. She is part of the, like, the Park and Recs department in Perkins. They have such a huge ball team that they are running on the fields to practice in. She said she's came to Tryon, she's drove through Tryon, she knows the condition of her ball fields. She asked what we're doing with it. I told her the plans that what Leslie, what we had talked about before. She asked if those are like gonna be current plans or like plans in the future that's gonna take a little while, like after baseball, softball season. And I told her probably, because we're waiting on the grants or whatever. She said that she's wanting to know if the town would approve them to come over, they will work on the ball fields, fix the ball fields, paint them, do whatever needs to be had in order to be able to use them for their ball teams.
I did that when my boys were young. We went down there and cleaned them and painted them and fixed everything.
I think they're willing to do the lighting.
They said that they would do whatever needs to be done to be able to use the ball fields, because they're desperately.
How's the bathrooms down there? Yeah,
No.
I mean, they're, so I went over and, when I worked this job before, I went over and cleaned them. They clean up pretty good, but.
They've been vandalized.
Yeah, the pipes are not good.
But that might be something that
They would
maybe we
have
can
to
work in
put-
like rental for,
The porta potty or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, they got to have something if they're gonna do it, so I have no issues with them
Yeah,
using the
yeah.
ballpark.
They got it well when Cushing's got the orange.
I make a motion.
and Taylor's is usually pretty cheap. I haven't called the one going towards, Christian
The
lately.
one I got, if I get it, pay $200 straight up for it.
We can always check on prices and see. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it.
No?
I'll make a motion that, we let, you know what I mean,
No, she just said some like
Perkins Rec, use the ball fields.
Sandy seconds.
Jenny, yes.
Richard, yes.
Should we put in there ball fields at their discretion or at their?
We might wanna have some kind of a plan or schedule so that somebody else goes down there, they can't interfere with it.
Okay. I can work out the
You know,
details.
that they basically have preferential
Okay.
access to it on certain nights.
9.2, consideration, discussion, action on Amazon drop-off locker at the town hall.
Yep, so I asked Brittany, she should have packets for you guys. And I have this on my computer, so I don't know if you guys want to pass that to some of the people here if they want to see it. So basically what this is I brought this up, new business last meeting, about the possibility of having an Amazon locker at our town hall once it's completed. So basically I reached out to Amazon just to find out what all we would need, you know. And also just to make sure everything I said was correct. There is no cost to the town to have it, to Amazon. There is no rental fees or anything of it. There is, what they will do is they will send somebody out to do like a site survey and make sure that can work for us. You should find on page 4 and page 5 are talking about some of the requirements for the site as well as for the building. We would need to be able to provide 220 power to it. But what it would be a completely inside box. They only allow inside boxes in very few places and only with places that have 24/7 access to them. So it would be literally just right out front of the building. People would, mark that in their Amazon as their delivery location, and then they get a code, they just come up, they get it. It would require no whatsoever of you guys in town hall. It'd be completely nothing you guys would have to worry about.
The only thing we have to do is make sure there's 220 to the site.
Yeah, and that's.
And that has to be a work change order.
Yes, and that's why I wanted to bring it up in this session and give you guys that information so we can figure out.
I think they've got one sitting up there by the,
Perkins has one.
yeah, the library or the.
Yeah, by the library.
Somewhere on that sidewalk right there, I saw it the other day.
Yeah, it's by the
Everyone
police
has
station.
one.
So what would you guys feel about that?
I don't have a problem either way.
I know a lot of people order off Amazon
Yeah.
all the time or whatever.
Is
so-
there a usage, like you have to have so much each month? No, there's nothing.
Nope, as far as I know, so what would happen is if we get this approved and we decide to do it, we would reach out to Amazon, let them know
What are
this
they
is,
talking
we're
about?
interested in having this, and then, like I said,
The
they can
Amazon.
come out and do the site surveys and
The
things, figure out
Amazon.
what all we need to do.
It would be like a vending machine for your packages.
And then they would be in charge of installing it and everything.
Personally, I love it because on South Second, a lot of my packages get delivered to North Second.
Well,
So that would help.
that's when you
Well,
guys
that's,
actually.
so at least you got an address. I could put my address in and they tell me it.
I've been there 60 years, they tell me it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Well, and there's an Amazon truck that has, I don't know their exact route, but there's a box in Chandler and there's a box in Perkins, so you would assume they'd come right down on 105 anyway, versus UPS showing up, what, 3 days of the week maybe, if you're lucky?
And then you have people I see post on the Tryon page
Mhm.
about packages were delivered somewhere else, or
Yeah.
somebody came on that porch
I
and
think
took
it's a
them.
good
Yeah.
idea.
So I think it's a good idea.
So what we would need to do, we would need to look at seeing about if there is gonna be like a concrete slab sidewalk where that can sit on, and where we wanna have it exactly, and put in a change control to have the electrical available in case we get it.
Are they requiring an overhang?
So they actually come with their own little overhang that's lighted. You should see that on page 5.
It's a
There's actually a
glorified red
picture of
box.
the
Okay.
outside one. And so they're not requiring it to be covered, because they kind of do that themselves. It's a weather
Weatherproof
resistant,
enclosure,
I guess, weather resistant-ish
Yeah, the one at Lowe's
container.
is just sitting outside the door.
Yeah, right outside the mall. There's one at Chandler, I believe. There's an electrical company, I think it's sitting right out front of.
This looks like a mailbox,
Yeah,
yeah.
Heat and Air Company. So,
Yeah, it's a glorified red box.
Do we have a motion from the board?
I'll make a motion, we start the process, get it set up.
I brought it up. I don't feel right seconding
Yeah,
it myself.
I'll second it, but I think we need to get with the contractor to make sure that we've got electric and a platform for it to sit on.
How big a breaker they'll need is some information the contractor will
Yeah,
need.
it's all in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sandy, yes.
Richard, yes.
I mean, I vote yes, but it's my idea.
There's
so
one
of course
floating
I
around
would.
in here.
You'll have to have the vote.
I'll look at it here in a little bit, I was just thinking out loud.
Consideration, discussion, action on DEQ agreement letter. That's with Eldon and Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, before we left, I was talking to Eldon. So here, I know we tabled this before. I made some initial contact with Andrew Shaw at the DEQ area rep, to follow up consistent with what we talked about. And he was real friendly and solicitous. It's just that once he heard I was an attorney, he pulled the, well, let me refer you to one of our attorneys so that they can talk to you, and then of course it's been kind of the poof, so I'll keep trying to get a hold of them to get the DEQ attorney to get with me. In general, nothing has changed, and my understanding is there's not currently anything pending, like there's no court date pending here with anything going on up there, as I told him that. And all we're really talking about trying to do is just to make certain, I know that he presented a letter from Mr. Shaw. I just want to make sure that DEQ and the town is on the same page, that nobody thinks there's anything wrong, but what is going to be the protocol, what are we looking at, so we all know what to expect going forward, so you don't have to worry about getting some kind of a ticket from the town because of something that's not going on wrong and all that. So kind of,
I mowed the well site and everything.
yeah.
So I know last meeting you were talking about having something drawn up for everybody to sign.
Just that I can do a consent order, but what I need is some input from the DEQ folks to kind of get.
And I will say Andrew Shaw isn't the best for keeping the ball rolling.
Well, and that may be, and that's what. So I don't happen to know any of the attorneys at DEQ, so but I'll keep on that and get that going. That's just where we are. But I don't think there's anything, so that you know too. From my understanding, the board, there's nothing pending.
I may reach a little higher since I know something about it now.
And that's fine. Yeah.
I can say, hey, by the way, Town of Tryon's waiting on you all, and
Right.
I'm going to talk to Shaw's boss. not
Absolutely.
Shaw,
Sure.
because-
No, that's fine too. Whatever. But that's kind of where we are. So that's
Okay.
yeah.
So then do we table this until?
No, we'll just table
until
it, yeah.
next meeting?
Yeah, we'll just
So-
keep putting on the meetings until it's
Elton.
taken care of.
Elton, up here. So if you get in touch with someone,
Just refer. I'll make sure you have my. I'll get you my contact so that you don't have to. Okay. All right.
9.4.
no action.
No action. Consideration, discussion, action on the ramp at Town Hall.
There's been, the ramp that's at Town Hall is not ADA compliant, and, there's been 2 old ladies that almost fell off the ramp because their little walker, has got caught on the ramps, the temporary one, we've looked up ADA compliant information. I thought I sent it out to you guys, but I may not, because, lost my mind. But, it more or less states that if we go doing any little repairs, like we can't do little bits and pieces of repairs, like we have to do the whole thing. So we need to do something with that ramp as soon as possible. Because,
See, when you have a
John had to
ramp,
walk the lady down the porch the other day.
when you have a ramp, it has got to be graded to ground level.
Yep.
Where the new 2x was put in, so when people see that ramp, they're not thinking, okay, when I get to that ramp, I gotta step up or I'm gonna catch that board. And we've had 2 or 3 that have almost fallen, and that's a lawsuit on us.
Oh, yeah.
So,
if
and also, I suggested the last time when this was brought up about getting one of those aluminum ramps. It didn't have to be a big one, just the size. And we could use it at City Hall because there is no ramp being built for handicap accessible into City Hall. So that aluminum one could be taken when the building opens down there and used.
Great. But when the building opens, our parking lot's gonna be the same level as the concrete. We still have to put 4 or 5 inches of blacktop and gravel on top of what's there right now.
But still, I think you have to have an accessible ramp to be ADA compliant for wheelchairs and stuff.
I think you just have to have flush.
It has to be
Yeah.
flush, it has to be ramp, so if
It
it's
has
blacktop,
to
it's
be,
fine.
I think it's what, 2 inches, I think, if it's a 2 inch or more raised up, then that's
Right.
what it
I think
requires.
if we can make it flush with the
Yeah.
concrete that's there.
But it's
Well,
not-
Still.
I'm just saying what's over here now is gonna cost
So
us
is
a
there somewhere
lawsuit.
else that we could use this ramp if we were to get one?
Right.
If we don't use it for City Hall, is there another building or?
Maybe if we get a storage shed, we might be able to
Use it for storage.
put it with a storage shed ramp or
I
something.
mean, you're not looking at like the big long ones, you know, you're talking about a short one to
Well,
work over
If
here.
it's ADA, it still has to be, what is it, I think it's 4-to-1 ratio.
Right.
So it needs to be, 112?
1 inch in every 12.
Yeah.
That one's 8 feet long, so you're gonna have to buy one that's 12 feet long.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, almost
Yeah.
all the
Make
way up
that
to the.
incline.
Yep.
Plus
At-
side rails.
At least.
sidewalk.
And it has to have side rails, and it also has to have sidewalls towards the bottom that would block walker posts and wheelchair wheels and everything from rolling off the side of it. I heard a thing or two about that.
Yeah, it'd have to be almost 12 feet long.
I didn't realize it was that long.
So should we,
But-
get quotes and put that on, cause we're gonna have, because of the budget, we have to meet back on like the 20th
Yeah.
and put it on that agenda.
Get quotes
You
for
don't
aluminum
still have the links
compared
I sent?
to,
I think so, I think it is.
That one I sent was.
If the city buys the materials, I'll rebuild the ramp,
materials as in
to redo the wooden ramp.
wood rail.
Well, the thing is once we're out of there, they're gonna take the building down.
Oh, I don't care what y'all do with it.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying, if we're paying the money to build it.
We're trying to
Once
not
we're
resell
out,
any.
they're gonna just throw the stuff away.
You could always also
Maybe something
resell.
we can do.
Yeah, you can put it on Craigslist and resell it.
And if the aluminum ramp doesn't work out, that's definitely something
Yeah.
much appreciated too.
And my repairs were only there to keep somebody from going
Yeah.
through it.
So
Okay, we'll get
We'll get
quotes.
quotes and put it on the
Good,
next
table it to the 20th and try to get some prices in between now and then.
could you also get some quotes on just the materials? How we would compare?
Yep.
All right. Discussion, consideration, action on the judge's contract.
The judge report, just cause it was run, it's like a month or two over his, when he started, nothing's changed or anything, but he wanted me to get with you guys to see if you guys had issues or questions for him, or anything that's changed, or if you just wanna continue as the judge's duties Trustees or whatever. We haven't had any issues, everything's going good, so.
What is this, I
It's
haven't
for
gotten
court.
pulled over here at all.
It's
so
for court.
I know that, but what is the process here? One of the things I heard was that if you go to court and you get arraigned, you're gonna have to wait at least another month or two to come
Well,
back.
if you go to arraignment, and like if you get a citation and you go to arraignment and you wanna fight it, then you have, our trial court is every 3 months. So it will get kicked off for whatever trial court, whatever the next trial court is.
Is there
And
no
then
way
they
to
can come-
maybe bump a couple hours of trial court in the
No,
afternoon?
that's how they have it scheduled, that's.
Yeah.
But isn't that, but aren't we the ones who make the schedule?
No,
No.
the judge.
What comes to the judge, but, and it's not really an issue because since you're not a court of record, because besides what we do, and there's no, it's all just tickets and fines and all that, then you're not really ever running into the issues with speedy trial like they do, and that's not an issue. So it's
In
just,
the big city,
if somebody
yeah.
decides, if they get the ticket, they don't want to pay it, then they're saying they post their little cap, whatever the cash bond is, and they get a date, and it's whatever that next court date's gonna go be, and but it's gonna be within a couple months, right?
Yeah.
Because it's every quarter, right?
Yeah.
And there's been a couple times, the judge is very lenient and works with the people, that if they forgot something or don't have an evidence or didn't have time to like get somebody, he'll put on the next docket instead of a trial, and then they'll just readdress it.
For the next month,
Yeah,
not the
yeah.
next
Yeah,
three.
there's a court
It just
every
depends
month.
on what that
Oh, yeah.
person is wanting or requesting on which one he does.
I just know myself, if I got a speeding ticket and tried to fight it and had to wait 3 months to even get a hearing on it, I'd be very unhappy.
Well, you get a hearing, you get the hearing that month, but if you're
Well,
gonna
you
fight
get-
it.
you get arraigned
but-
that
But
month.
Right.
even if you go to Lincoln County, it's gonna,
Right, you're not
you're
gonna.
gonna have a jury trial or a trial by judge, it's gonna be months down the road.
Correct.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So I know
know.
back home, you know, if it's something like a parking ticket, then you get arraigned for it, you're probably gonna be in court within a couple weeks.
Well, I mean, you'll have a court date on your
Yeah.
ticket.
Well, again, it depends, in Oklahoma City, but they've got
Some places have
five
court a couple
full-time,
times a-
they got five
yeah.
full-time
Right.
municipal judges who
Yeah.
are there every day doing
Yeah.
dockets every
And
morning.
Perkins
afternoon.
has court twice a month.
Right,
So
that's a whole
Tryon
different
has,
ballgame.
yeah,
Yeah,
and they have like juvenile court and like different courts twice a month, so with our small town, we don't have
Yeah.
court once a month.
So we're just gonna continue the judge's contract?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, yeah.
I make a motion to continue the judge's contract.
Sandy seconds.
Dave, yes.
Jenny, yes.
Richard, yes. Consideration, discussion, action on the Heather Michaels FOIA report.
So I put this on there, I just wanted to see where we're at. I know there are a lot of them. Were we able to get any of them done this month?
I have sent the list that is remaining to Stephen, I give it to him like the
Okay.
second court date. I asked him to look over that and double check everything, I showed him what's been done, what hasn't been done, and waiting on his guidance.
right, and that's, I'm just trying to go through and make sure what's there, what's not, and subject to, and I've talked to Heather every time we're here.
Mhm.
I visit with her too, so I know, and she's been very, so far patient as well as, and understanding too, the limitations with, that Brittany's kind of pulled in, as we just, 5 different directions too, it's hard. I mean, the FOIA request, yes, and I'll repeat what I've told her, and I'll tell the board again. I mean, transparency is the name of the game, that's how I wanna go play things. If there's stuff that she's entitled to, she should get it. We just all have to understand, and that includes the public too, when you make a FOIA request, you have to deal with the realities, and it can't be something that totally disrupts the whole operation of the office. And I know part of the issues have just been trying to get rid of mistakes that got made or whatever, trying to go through all the whole board minute meetings, because sometimes the recorder didn't get turned off at the right time. And so that involves, that's a pretty labor-intensive deal to get through all that. And you're running a one-person show right now, so it's, you know, in terms, you can't ignore the bills, you can't ignore the stuff that has to get done. So we're doing our best, and I'm gonna get through it, and we're gonna get that stuff there. It's just a matter of doing it.
Is there maybe like 3 or 4 of them you could cherry pick and that?
Well, and yeah, and I know, like, for instance,
Within the next month?
hopefully so. And there was one that she, like, her most recent one, and y'all know you're here, I'm gonna point, I'm not going to be disrespectful. But that one you submitted, and you got your information pretty quickly, right? I mean, we were there, you got a new one.
So, I'm not sure.
The deal involving, one of the resignation letters or something like that, I think.
Yes,
That was
yes.
the most recent one.
Well, the main thing that now, it's been a year, June 24th will have been a year that y'all requested $500.
Okay, yeah.
So I just,
I mean,
It's
and
kind
the
of-
way, better than we do, that ordinance changed in November, to where the clerk can actually be held liable. And so this is stuff we wanna get done, and it also says there, I know there's no timeline for FOIA requests in Oklahoma, but it is, quote, within a reasonable
Right,
period of time.
that's,
I don't know anybody who would think that
no, I
take
understand.
$500 and a year later and not have any results would be any way reasonable.
Well, and I'm not, again, because I wasn't the one who was here. I know that there has been some information that has been given. I don't think that it covers anywhere near all of the items that are there, but, so there is something that she's gotten,
well,
and
it's technically not what I paid for, but I did pay for it
I
because it was
understand, yeah,
paperwork.
and that's where,
but-
so what,
And I know you're slammed too, I'm not.
Yeah, and that's
Well,
why
not-
I've been.
Not only that, like I've stated several times, I also go by direction of the board and our legal counsel. And two of these people were on the board when this was going on, and they stated it in open meeting that they want me to, when I get those requests, to pass them along to them, especially after the fourth or fifth request that I received. And I've been doing that, and they told me not only to send it to the board, but to also send it to the attorney and go at his directions.
Oh, I know.
So there was a couple months span that, and I've got documentation of
I know.
conversations on my email.
I'm not.
So it's not like I'm refusing to
you
do
at all.
anything, I'm waiting for
I know.
instruction.
And that's why I was
So-
hoping that maybe there might be 3 or 4 of them that we could cherry pick next month and just, that way we're still showing some progress.
right, no, absolutely. And I'm gonna reach out to Brittney again and try to go make sure that some of the ones that I've got, I've eyeballed myself, and I think, hey, this one shouldn't be so hard. Let's get those checked off so we can make some progress.
The question is this, to speed this thing up a little bit, from this point on, does she have to go in front of the board when someone requests public, or can't she just go
Well,
straight to
the new ones that I've been receiving, or the last one that I've been receiving, I've got it taken care of right then.
Yeah.
It's just stuff that while the last administration that we had.
Yeah,
lots of times,
well, that's what I'm
was
trying to-
being
No,
held, like,
to
held up.
answer your question, no, she does, if anybody comes in and makes a FOIA request to her, she doesn't need to bring that before the board. That does not, that's something that she can turn around, if there's any question, then she can deal with town council and we can make a decision, here's what it is. Now, again, if it's gonna involve making reams and reams of paper copies, at some point when you're dealing with expenditures and what they're, at that point, yeah, we're maybe gonna have to come before the board and say, hey, here we go, because again, what's reasonable, and that's part of why they made the request they did up front, I would assume.
Yes.
I wasn't the council at the time, but is, all right, if you're asking for a bunch of copies, and it's gonna take a whole lot, you're gonna pay for some of those copies, so, and prepay, so we're not interfering
Right,
with that.
but it also states that you can't price out, to me, as a deterrent, and to me, $500 up front before we do anything is definitely a financial deterrent.
Oh, no, I understand, but I also think that it depends, those are always gonna be within the context of what's being asked for. I mean, if somebody says, I want a copy of a letter, yeah, there's no way you're asking for $500 to get a copy, a copy
Right,
of the letter.
right.
If I want minutes of meetings goes back 3 years, now we're talking about, and then plus it's not just the copy, the cost of the copy, it's the time that you're paying a salary for that employee to sit there and have to go back and
Oh, yeah.
comb through and sit and make the copy. So that's what that's for. Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Now,
I think in the general scope of this one, I don't know if the 500 was probably,
And I know you weren't there, you
right.
can't speak to
I
that.
don't know that it was unreasonable, but I understand too that it's not a small amount. That's why.
Heather, are you still requesting all those FOIA requests, or are you somewhat happy with some of the
So
stuff you've got?
they've all just kind of, the first I think was like 6 got completely ignored back well over a year and a half ago. So then those 6 went to the second one with like 3 more, and I've just, I think was it 3 or 4? I can't even remember how many
I'll have
now.
to look at my document.
Yeah, it's been a progressive, like, ignored. And I did get a few things, but
I guess my question is, at this point, is it everything you've asked for, do you still want? Or is there something that
Absolutely,
we
yeah.
should
But I-
reimburse you for the time and the money that you put aside and call everything good at this point?
no, I would still like,
Okay. That was my question.
Okay.
How many years we going back?
A little bit, well, a year and a half now.
Just, I mean, that's all your request is for a year and a half of record?
No,
No, I've been asking for a year and a half.
Correct.
Since March of last year.
Go back almost 2 years.
the letter,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and
the
recordings
letter that I
and
got,
recordings and, yeah.
that I think maybe was November 15th of 24, there's a letter, but at that point, for instance, one of the requests, and again, just so everybody knows, I mean, it's a 4-page letter with,
They had a lot of
it depends on how you break them down, there's numbers here, but there's at least 17 individual requests, but one of them was asking for minutes of meetings going back from August of 22.
His agendas, not.
Forward.
Yeah, and I did get that.
No, it said minutes, yeah, but that's why, so that goes back, so yeah, we're not, the scope isn't like, I wanna know what happened last month, it's, there's a lot.
Yeah, and that's my point, I just want to know how many years
Right.
she was requesting. So,
Now, the thing that
personally, I mean, to speed these things up, I don't think, if someone asks something, I don't think you need to come to a board member and get approval. I think if you just go with him.
Yeah, and that's why,
And
that's
that way
why
it
when he
goes faster.
started, that's why when he started, I transferred that to him, I gave him that list. I marked off everything that I have, and I told him I just need you to look at what's left, because that's what I was waiting on James. Just get some guidance from him since he is our new counsel and see what he wants me to do.
Do we have some that you're waiting on, like county or other agencies to get back to you on?
I haven't looked at it since I gave it to him, to be honest.
Because if
So
we
I
have
can't-
some of those,
I
we
haven't
can
looked at
just,
stuff.
Steph, if we have some of those that, you know, we're
Anything
just
I can
allowed to
help.
have this info and you go to
I
the county.
need to leave. I
Can't you just
And that's what's kind of,
sign,
that's
but
what kind
can't
of,
you just
at
sign
the
the
beginning was,
request and put in there, you need to talk to these people?
Right, because there's no obligation for the board.
I'm probably down.
As I've said, I told her this as well, I mean, there's lots of realities and nuances to the whole thing, but if we don't have it, whether you think we should or shouldn't, if we don't have it there, and if it's, you've got to go somewhere else, we don't have to invent deals that didn't exist, so that's part of the whole thing.
and that's at the beginning, that's what one thing was taking us forever to do, because we had to do legal research on some of the things that she had requested, because that's what we were told to do.
Yeah.
So that takes time as well.
If we have a couple that, you know, well, this information's in the county, we can sign off on those.
Yeah, if you just tell me what I can see, I
Right,
have
no,
a problem.
yeah, that's, we just gotta get.
As long as we show progress, that's all I care about.
No, I just want to move.
Yeah.
I know.
So like
What are you here
I just need legal guidance on
I'm
what I
probably
can
at
do.
your
I have no
business.
problem doing it.
And then
What is it
afterwards,
for?
do we need to set up any SOPs or policies? That way,
I-
if this comes
Flags
up
on the
4
floor.
years from now, then it's easier to handle.
I just didn't hear y'all.
Sorry. I don't think, I think you handle these as the ad hoc, I think you take them what you are. If somebody comes in, the law is the law, so that's.
If it's flashlight, it wouldn't.
Whoever said, wait, present to a board, respectfully, I disagree, that's not
So that's what I'm saying, they just slow the process.
Correct,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I think that, to speed that process up, she should
Well-
have just went.
Because it has tied my hands and made, the comments has been made in public and all over Facebook, made like I'm not doing my job and I refuse to do my job. And it's putting me in a bad light and there's misinformation, it's misinformation that's being told and lies that are being twisted around.
I don't think we need to go into that.
Well, I'm just
the
saying,
he said, she
that's
said
why it
stuff.
needs to be handled when it's first addressed,
Right.
because it's got to this point.
But from this point forward, let's find a way that's more efficient, that's easier for everyone.
Just take them, and if there's a question whether you
Yeah.
should or shouldn't, you just let me know, and I'll get back to you as quick as we can, and we'll just do it. It doesn't matter.
And if it would be possible to maybe forward on, you know, 2 or 3 a month, that,
Right.
you
No,
know.
absolutely, I agree.
Then we can show progress to where citizens are happy as well as you're not completely slammed with 30 of them at once.
Right.
Hey Brittney, you know what the woman there wanted?
She's wanting to address the planter about the gas station.
Oh, the gas station?
Yeah, the planter that's at the gas station where the flagpoles are.
That's,
She said her family owned it, she owned the gas station,
Yeah.
and she is, wanting something done with the planter or whatever. She said that was actually donated to the, yeah, she said it was donated to the town. I talked to Potter's daughter, Erica, and she said she'll have to look into it, but she doesn't know anything about it being donated to the town, she thinks it's her property, so I haven't heard back from her.
I think the last time anything was put in there, when my daughter planted it.
No, I
So she's-
planted, I planted,
that's what she said.
family.
She's just wanted to address the board in public comment period.
Yeah, so it's been 7 years.
Yeah.
Just tired. just,
have an issue.
get her.
No, I understand. I think she's supposed to.
So where do we leave it on my circle?
She's having.
No action right now?
No action, yeah,
Just,
so,
Yeah, no action.
and hopefully Steph can get a couple of easy ones.
I don't think they're gonna have an answer for you this evening. It sounds like
Oh.
they're this,
We're gonna move her up.
okay,
We've got 3 more things here before we can move her up.
okay.
Consider action on the hiring practices for the town,
What did you say?
procedures, job descriptions,
3
etc.
more things and it's your turn.
So what is our,
You can actually amend it to put her right now.
I
You
think
can,
put
you can
her-
make an amendment and move her up to that.
This won't take long.
Okay.
so what is our policy on hiring people?
I know you,
So-
but you don't know me.
So
I'm
we
Ray
had
Moore's
a
youngest.
utility operator that we have had open
I'm
since
Nancy Durbin.
May,
Yeah.
and we don't even have a,
I didn't know if you
advertising
remember.
for it.
Usually,
So-
I was under the understanding, I wasn't at the May meeting, but nobody
made a motion. They
made
accepted-
a
Yeah, they
motion.
accepted a resignation, but didn't make a
Yeah,
motion.
you accepted Michael's resignation, but you didn't make a motion to put it in the paper and
See,
all
that's
that
what
to
confuses
hire.
me though, because we're not creating a position, we're not amending the position. There's already financial limits that have been approved to cover it. Why do we need to wait for a meeting to advertise a position that we already have to get it filled?
Because that's, what you're more or less approving is the expenditure amount is what, even one of the trainings that I have
Don't
is
you
that
have like up to $2,000 you could
you
spend
still,
without?
that's what they
Board
told
has
us.
to approve that.
Yes, the board has to approve that.
See, and I asked Stefan about this, and of course, this is when he stepped away, so.
So usually what we do at the meetings when they approve the resignation or the position's open, when they approve the resignation, that's usually when they make the motion to advertise for the position. And we usually
Yeah, it's on
advertise
the
it from,
agenda.
yes, and we usually advertise it from, 1 month to the next meeting. That gives it 30 days to be in the paper, we advertise it at least twice.
Do you have job descriptions and things that you can just copy and paste into email papers?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And then where, and so I noticed in the finances for the utility helper, that it looked like we only advertised in Cushing.
No, we advertise in Cushing on top of, I'm pretty sure that I put it on the Tryon page, but advertise it in Cushing and then, Craig and then, Perkins. I usually advertise it.
Yeah, I didn't see it in Perkins, so.
Can we not use like the Indeed or put it in with the
DDQ has like a little website board thing, like a job.
Job
board.
posting sites, you pay to have your job
No, I
posted.
mean, that's all on the state,
Oh, that I don't know.
on the site.
So Stefan, this is what I was asking you about earlier.
Okay.
Why do we need to have a motion to advertise a position that is already approved and established and the spending of the advertisements within our approved spending limits?
So, okay. I'm multitasking here. There you go. Why do you have to have a board meeting to talk about advertising if the amounts in question are within discretionary limits? Is that what you're asking?
So if the position is already established and we're not making any changes to the position, the advertising costs are within the approved limits, why do we have to have a motion to advertise for that position to refill it?
Yeah, if it's within some number that you have that's already established as a discretionary limit, then you probably really don't need to have that. The question just comes down to, it's simply a matter of whenever you as a board are talking about spending public monies, the public is entitled to kind of understand what's it going for. Now, everybody knows there's some kind of petty cash or there's a discretionary amount that we're spending for certain things here and there. And as long as it doesn't become, so it's really simply a matter of what impression and how do you want to handle things as a matter of practice. I don't think that it's necessary. I don't think you're running afoul of the law if you say, we're not gonna have to bring that up and have a motion and to approve expenditure of money within a certain amount that's within there. I don't think that you need to. Whether you want to, just as a matter of practice, because you feel like that's what we're doing in an open forum as part of an open meeting, there you go. I don't know that it's doing. So I think the question comes down to, if we're following that procedure, is it hindering or hampering or slowing down the process unnecessarily? Then I think that's the wisdom that you guys have to go make as a board, is do we want to keep doing this, or can we simply bring it up in the next board meeting that says, hey, we did this and here's why, and that way everybody knows. That's a question of the board.
I think as long as we put down that we accept someone's resignation and then we open up for applications and to advertise for, position, I think we're fine.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, I
That has to be on the agenda.
Yeah, no, we're advertising for it?
Yep.
Well, he just said we don't.
Well, I mean, for opening up the position, if it's not on the agenda to open up the position, we can't hire someone if it's not open on the agenda.
correct. To fill the position. If the question is, do we need to take it up to advertise? No, I don't think we have to do that.
Right.
Well, I'm just saying that in order to do that, though, we have to tell that it has to be put on the
No,
agenda.
right,
Hey, we're gonna open this up.
You
for-
do, but if you have somebody who's filled it and they've tendered resignation, you have to bring that up at the next meeting and accept the resignation. That's when it's officially vacant, and then you say, okay, and then kind of like you did here, you can make the decision, we're not gonna fill that position going forward, then you've addressed that at that point in time. But if you know you're going forward and you've already discussed, yes, we've accepted that and we're going to start soliciting, applicants for the new position, from that point forward, if it's, hey, we're gonna go post it in the county, official county, whatever publication, as long as that number is gonna be within your discretionary, no, I don't think you have to put that as a board, no, just, yes, we're gonna do it, let's advertise it, she can do whatever she needs to do within a certain amount, I think that's fine.
Because we could have advertised the utility operator position in last week of April. We could have possibly had them hired by now where they could have been trained, so when you're out next month, you aren't doing everything by yourself again.
Right.
So, kind of take some of the bloat out of it and make it a little more efficient of a process.
Right.
Can I ask a quick question? Can I, is that okay? Can I ask why we don't put it in the Lincoln County newspaper, any hiring?
Myself, when James, and I believe I got an email, I have to pull it back out, but Lincoln County, from what we were told, has revamped their postings, because we were posting for a little bit, and our postings wasn't getting out in a timely manner. Well, James, at the time was our attorney, we were told that they are subcontracting some of their work and their payments out to a company in Texas. I can't remember if it's Dallas or wherever. But because of the whole process and transition of them sending it to Dallas, before they post our ads in the paper, they would send, get the ad up and then send us an invoice, and the invoice would have to be paid before they would post it, which was putting our postings like a month behind and was delaying us getting stuff done. So they told us that, we would have to go to the next seat available of where we post it, and that is in Prague. So we were instructed to not use Lincoln County anymore because of that reason. It was delaying things and wasn't letting us legally process our postings how we needed to. So that's why we post in Prague, because that's the next.
Craig, Cushing, and Perkins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most of the people around here get Perkins Journal anyway.
Yeah.
So other than being able to post the job description,
Yeah,
we have no action at this point.
I believe so.
I know one thing with the job positions, how are we gonna do like pay? Are we gonna stick to like how we normally do it, and that's gonna be discussed in executive session? Because I know that's normal things that they ask when they do call up here.
I think we just put down that pay by experience. I mean, if you don't have the experience, I mean.
DOE, downstairs or whatever.
And that's usually what I tell them.
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure.
Then I'll get addressed when you guys talk.
I'd like to change I need a motion for somebody to change the order of the agenda to address the woman over there for public input, new business.
Which number is that?
I do
Nine-
9.71.
9.71?
Yeah, 7.8.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that,
And change the public input.
amend the public entity to, what is it? 9.71.
A second.
She was just, no, we're adding 9.7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Richard, yes.
Sandy, yes.
Jenny, yes.
Finally.
Okay, ma'am.
All right.
I know the next one can take it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna come up and address the board.
Would you like to sit
Hi,
down?
Ethan.
You can sit here.
Yeah.
Would you like to sit?
Oh, okay,
That's what I
yeah.
said.
Nathan went to school with my boys.
He's
I
my
am
elementary school librarian.
Nancy Durbin, D-U-R-B-I-N. And I'm from Agra, but I'm an old Tryonite. And I still love this town. With the board's permission, I'd like to give you a little history.
Go ahead.
Okay, I won't take up too much time. My family moved here in 1975, and we purchased the ceiling house on First Street. It was 100 years old. We froze to death in the winter, and we burned up in the summer. He lived catty corner from me. And we bought the place that is now the filling station. That was a mom and pop restaurant, and our family purchased it. And later on, we sold it, and I went to work for the Tryon school. My youngest son was the last student to graduate from Tryon school. My granddaughter, she was the last little girl to graduate from kindergarten there. And we purchased, which is now the tire shop. It was John Vassar's feed store.
Right.
And we purchased that. And then we purchased Mrs. Davis' house, which is the little house in between. And my husband designed the car wash and built it. Anyway, Tryon was a booming town, and it makes me sad to see how it has gone downhill. Preachers used to come. We had revival down Main Street. We had a NAPA store, 2 grocery stores, 2 restaurants, a thrift store, a beauty shop, the phone company, the laundromat, the bank, the school. And everything,
Auction house.
everybody took care of their yards, they took care of their houses. It was a beautiful little town. And when we first moved here, we thought it was crazy because we moved from California. My husband was an Okie, so you knew about Tryon. But you could park in Main Street. You didn't park in a parking spot. You parked on Main Street. And my husband used to come uptown in his pickup with a big old goose behind him, following his truck to get the mail, turn around and go back home. But anyway, that's a little bit of the history of Tryon. Tryon was not always here. It was in the country. And then they moved to Four Corners. And then Jack Tryon moved to here. He had a brother, but I can't remember his name. I am not that old, but I am 91, and I will be 92 in November. And my husband passed away just 4 years ago. built onto our house in Akron because we had 5 foster kids. And I forgot to tell you the main thing. I was a town clerk here for 15 years. And my books never had a problem. Never had one penny off in 15 years. And I lost the election that last year by 2 points. But my husband had been hired for chief of police in Akron. And so we had to move to Akron anyway. So I would have had to resign if I had won. And now the reason why I'm here, we purchased a gas station. There was a cafe. The bicentennial year, this town was full of people. You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
I started.
I'm Sissy's sister.
Oh, okay.
You know who I am.
I knew you.
Yeah.
But anyway, we had the bicentennial parade, and we had the band from Perkins and our band, and we had
All kinds of floats.
Betty. I can't remember her name now, but I knew her. Anyway, she was the postmaster.
Betty Carter.
Yeah, and she was the chairman of the committee, and I was co-chairman of the committee. And my husband and I donated where you have the correct planter and the black clothes, sitting empty and ugly. Did you get a chance to take a picture?
I didn't take a picture of it, I talked to Supervisor Jackson.
Anyway, there's a plaque on the front of it that Jerry and Nancy Durbin donated this property for its flag site for bicentennial year. And there's a plaque on it. And 3 years ago, I bought a Christmas tree 6 feet tall and 6
we need 2 driveways. If we do another driveway, when the other culvert collapses, we're gonna be spending another $2,000-3,000 on that.
It's stuff off.
Yeah. And it was
And I
discussed.
say do it, if it's
It
wrong,
was,
let's
yes,
do
it
it.
was discussed and with the last board members, that what the plans was, this was to keep both driveways. And the driveway that is collapsed, that's what they agreed upon, they talked to Michael about getting quotes or whatever on how much the tin horn would be, because, the contractor actually came over, driving it, and that's when it collapsed. And then we always talked about having both driveways. That one was gonna be a little bit longer and bigger, so to have the ease of access of going in off 105, but they wanted to keep the one that's going into the park because of the angle of where our dumpster's gonna be. So, when I met ODOT down there the other day for the, driveway permit, and Richard mentioned that it was discussed that we were only gonna have one driveway, it kinda threw me off because we never talked about just having one driveway. So I'd already had the tin horn, Michael already had the tin horn, scheduled, the guy's waiting on us, they've been waiting over a week to have it delivered and put in. County said they're gonna help us put it in, but there's all these changes and everybody.
Well, there's no changes, I mean, if there's a plan made already, there's no changes to be made unless this board approves them changes.
That's what I said.
And that's the bottom line.
And it has to have a
So,
submitted change
yeah.
order to the project
Yeah.
manager, to their
Yeah.
project manager, all that.
Well, the tin horn's on us.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only question I would have is, do we need another driveway? I mean, the one that's still good,
Did we already pay for it?
Yeah, it's paid for.
the one we've got
That's what I'm
is 40 foot, but there's only 60 feet between the 2 driveways now. So if you put a 40-foot culvert in there, now you're only 20 feet between 2 culverts, or 2 tin horns.
But
If
it
we-
was
if we
for
don't-
the.
Yes, if we don't have 2 driveways, that trash truck is not gonna be able to get
Right.
in and out safely. That's another big reason why we're keeping why they talked about keeping the park entrance, is because some of those trash trucks cannot back out into the open highway like that.
I mean, if we already have the stuff paid for and it's
Yeah.
already been approved, I say keep it.
I'm fine with, I'm fine
As long
with,
as 20 feet between the tin horns is structurally sound, doesn't cause structural problems to the ground, why not? Just
I'm-
ODOT said that was
use it.
fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine
Just gonna
with,
and make it 80 feet of ground.
you could just put the one driveway in where they have to pull in with the trucks. Take out both culverts and just put one in where the one on the west side is that they need to get in with the garbage truck.
And would delivery trucks then have problems backing up onto the highway and things, or would it be better to have a?
It would be
more
near
round-
the parking lot to be able to turn the parking lot.
Yeah, I just say keep 2.
Yeah,
Keep 2?
keep 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've already bought and paid for the pipe.
Well, the thing is the concrete that has to go on the end of it, both of them has to be concrete
Right.
butters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's gonna cost money.
Sounds like everything's gonna cost money.
Yeah, everything. The only other question I had is, do we need a meeting room?
See, I've never seen the
I've seen
plans.
plans,
I don't, yeah.
so-
They're at the city hall, and the library was asked to make a dedicated space in the library for meetings to be had.
Okay, and so is it just
Is
gonna
that
be?
something
It's gonna
that
be
you,
just like this. There's gonna be tables and chairs set up around, and it'll be a space just for that.
And is it gonna be open to the rest of the library?
Yes.
And the space is only gonna be used, it's gonna be like a transition area, cause we're gonna use that space for like court and, like board meetings, to where things can be pulled out and set up for court, or whatever we're using, and then put back.
Does it have any kind of divider or anything?
We can get a divider, we talked about getting one of them little pull things, or like what's in the over by where our printers are to help divide the rooms. We talked about other options like that.
Because I'm thinking if you have court there and you have other people in the library, is that gonna be a problem?
The library
Well,
is
it's not your-
usually not
Yeah.
open for like what meeting times, and
But we're asking,
for it shouldn't be.
but the board's gonna be asking for more hours, more time too.
Well, we can schedule it around that time, because it's only once a month.
Without seeing the plan.
Yeah,
I think that's where she's running with
Yeah,
it.
to go get them.
and those are the plans that were submitted to Asher that they made the improvements on?
Submitted to
And
Asher and to
approved
our
by the board
three-
members.
Yeah,
All board members?
yes.
It's gonna be approved if you don't
Yes.
absorb.
I can pull those minutes up.
When, so the way it's worked now with an open area for the meeting, where will we have executive sessions?
Right in the middle of the library,
That would have to be
between the
set.
library and the kitchen.
Well, you either have to go into the session and ask everybody to leave, or
We leave.
you retreat to a different room somewhere in the.
Office, how do you
Yeah,
go?
like I said,
The office
about
is
as big
bigger.
as we have now, like a double city hall.
So we could actually go in the office if we had to go.
Which we used to do that all the time
Yeah.
anyhow.
Yeah, rather than them leaving.
Because we're only gonna do the space once or twice a month for either a meeting or, court, and then all the other times it's gonna be wasted space. Like, it's not gonna be.
It's not something you guys
Yeah.
can use for
So it's like, that could be.
That's what I was hoping.
contractors or utility clerk, bring, talking to people, it would be.
Well, the
useful for
utility
that.
people have their own office.
But as a separate room, they have access for court, they have access for our meetings, couple meetings a month that we have, most of them be after the library's closed anyway. But you also need space for if she has people coming over to do things, when she has to organize our stuff for the monthly meetings, place to do stuff.
If any changes were to be made, will that cost the town more money?
Yes.
Yes.
And it's at the discretion of the contractor, because of, depending on what, the item is that's being changed, or if it's not given to him in a timely manner, there's different aspects that's being put into the quote of how much it could cost the town.
So then are we going to be getting a deduction on the building then for the things that were asked for that weren't put in?
If it's not on the contract,
not
I would say no.
contracted.
I mean, do we have a copy of
They
the
approved the
contract?
building without even having to say the drawings.
And I know that my hours will be extended in the new library, but I still won't be working until 6, so I don't think that meetings should be an issue.
While y'all peek at that, can I just have a question or suggestion? We've had a lot of people ask about a grand opening. I know we have a lot of residents that would be very happy to help and do something.
Right here.
I know us in the office has talked about doing something like that, but we're trying to wait till it gets a little bit closer.
But we can start kind of planning and getting ideas and doing,
Yeah, I
not
talked to
waiting
Ernie.
till last minute.
I called OGL and they said they would be happy to help us.
I mean, what was it?
You called who?
When the,
Oh,
The
the
Department-
Department of
for the
Libraries.
new city
Department
hall
of Library.
library.
Oh, okay.
But what the
Cool.
deal
That's good.
was, is the board had to approve the design, and then it was sent in and approved for the grant,
If I hear
right?
anything, I'll give you a future.
And we've had several meetings, everybody had their input put in on the meeting. We've
That's what I'm
adjusted-
afraid of.
We've adjusted certain things that, and I think I still got a copy of everything that's been submitted.
So what is this big building, this big
There's an
right?
office.
Is what?
That's the office. That's the,
Okay.
that's the office for utilities.
There's a utility, and at the time it was a code enforcement office. This is our kitchen, this is an employee bathroom, this is a community bathroom, this is all the library area.
One of them has a furniture layout on it, one doesn't.
This is the little storage thing that was going with this closet. This is utility and the code enforcement. At the time, that's what it was talked about, the utility office. And then this is our office. And then that's a foyer. That's why we have two entrances into the building, because we've had a few customers that came in like threatening and riled up. There's kids in the library, and they've gone a little dangerous and crazy. So that is one of Richard's suggestions. The foyer was made a little differently, but that was his suggestion on the foyer, so that the people that's doing town can come in through the south side of the building to the town side, deal with their business, they're usually just in and out, and then over here will be the library entrance, which will help separate the kids from the community that's just coming in to pay their bills.
And then this is gonna be the computer rentals and
Yeah,
things?
yeah.
So then if people are in here yelling and screaming, is that gonna
Well,
bother
no,
that?
because this is the only way that the public is gonna come into the
Well,
town
yeah,
side.
but I mean, sound carries.
But this door can be closed, like during office hours, that can be closed, because that's how us employees will be getting in there anyways. So that gives us a way to block off, because the libraries, once the kids are in there, yes, it's quiet most of the time, but if they go having like activities or community stuff in there or whatever, or people come in to read or paint or whatever, we can close that off and we won't, it'll be separated.
That is a giant, I want a kitchen in my house.
Intentionally.
Yes, because there's multiple
The
things with
library
the
does a lot of
programs.
activities with the kids that involve them.
Feeding the school.
We
No,
have
the
about
library-
There are
25
multiple-
kids that come in and
The
get
library in
food
the old
summers.
building had 738 square feet of space. between the building when you first came in, the back room, back behind our other office, and the other space that they shared. This is over 1,400 square feet. Matter of fact, it's almost 1,800 square feet. So they've got double the space. Even if you took a room off of here and made a separate room, they'd still have almost twice as much space as they had before.
Do you
But we
have
were,
any?
we were also sitting on top of ourselves at the other building as well. We had we couldn't have a proper a children's library. We couldn't, like the shelf, the art supplies and stuff was, like, we were sitting on top of ourselves.
My shelves were also entirely full. I could not purchase any more books and put them on our shelves because there was no space left on our shelves.
So what are these diagonal?
That's just, yeah, those are just bookshelves.
Yes, bookshelves. It's a layout that we kind of worked on.
These big square ones?
Those are just carpet, whatever, like rugs, just to kind of separate the areas
So
between like the
then,
kids.
if you have kids coming in and checking out books and things, where's the place for them to sit down and actually read a book?
That's what the meeting section will be turned into when you guys are upstairs. So the layout that Amanda and I were
Well, yeah, I
discussing.
know, but, so then you're gonna have to have double the chairs. You're gonna need kid-sized chairs. You're gonna need kid-sized tables, they're not gonna be able to sit at something like this.
Which we have.
But then are we gonna have to move the tables to have to come home?
Yeah, the meeting, the stuff at the meeting, like when we have a meeting, it's only once a month. It's going to have to be moved to a different space. It's gonna have to be a multi-purpose room, because of the size of the building and just our needs that we have. Like, we're going to, it's not what we have to do at the other place, but like we were, we have one space over there. You couldn't even put out all the books because we didn't have enough shelves to put in. It's something that we're going to have to deal with, and it's just one front, one front of it.
I have a question. I don't know nothing about the library or all that. Is there a certain amount of space that,
Not according to the OGL, but according to, I believe it's the US.
3,500 square feet, the town is 2,500 square feet. 2,500 population. Our whole building's 3,000 square feet, so that's the area.
So right now, they're only about 1,400?
About 18 the way that's stretched out.
So it's still about half of what that's another 50,000.
If you have 2,500 people in town, we have 500.
Oh, okay. Because I mean, I definitely see there's some better ways to organize this, but it's kind of neat though, move, get, I mean.
And the way it's set up, we don't really count.
We just kind of have something to do with that. Exactly. We would need to see what maintenance would actually look like, but I mean, before we do it anyway. So I mean, at this point, probably that's
we just updated, we're just doing the, what is it, like, we're updated. It's for stay-at-home better service property program that, we are enrolled in to, like, if there's any mistakes or whatsoever, we can apply for it.
The fire department gets stuff in that too, the federal program.
No.
No.
We haven't, I don't think we've gotten anything from it in a while, but it still kind of treats us on the and
They got
it
all
just
the
needs to be,
equipment,
yeah.
everything.
And we can touch base with them too to see if they have something for the building.
Yeah, okay.
But it has Rocky's information on it, so I just need you to,
Change it to me.
yeah, I, change that one to mark it out for me and my screen. If it gets approved.
Can we check and see if they have a ramp?
Yeah, and if it's approved tomorrow. That's what, ours was expired or something like that, so I can take care of that and put it in. Do we need to make a motion on that?
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve the federal surplus property program application update.
James, second.
Jenny, yes?
Richard, yes. Is there an action discussion on the budget for you on the 20th?
No, we're looking at it right now. This one, you have to look over. Here is the town. Your utilities, I have this. County utilities. Some of it,
Is there enough for everybody?
yes, there's enough for everybody. Here's the town hall. And there's some, it looks like quite a bit of yellow highlights on there, but.
There's one extra one.
Okay. Is that done by that one, I think so. Yeah.
Plausible liability.
We'll never get this done. I'll check it right now.
Was it ten?
They haven't yet. I've got extras, but I'll still just get. Okay, there's a bunch of highlighted yellow, parts on here, but it's mostly just for my reminders, so I can remember what I need to go over with you guys, about. Up on the first page, where it has like the two yellow highlighted boxes with the stars, that is the alcohol and motor vehicle, taxes. They're not completely separated, because some of them, how they come to us, they're on like one check or whatever, so I did not put those in there. That's just a reminder to myself to go back and separate them to get accurate readings of both of them. But if you look over at the last couple of years, with the 2024 adjusted budget on like the third column, that's usually, those are usually correct amounts right there. So that's what should be in those two yellow highlighted boxes. Right there, but then the current one, which is a SPAR budget right here, the last column, those are what I have proposed, on the budget. Down there where it says, I think you're gonna highlight it as well, the zero, where the gas excise tax.
Yep.
We should be getting yearly excise taxes, but they're being held by the state because the audits are not done. The audits aren't in the process of it, they've already gave me, I'm in contact with them, they gave me all the stuff that they need, they're just slowly getting around to doing it. So eventually they'll have them out there, but I know that we probably, I put zero there, because we probably won't have it by then. The state will hold the excise taxes for 2 years, after 2 years we lose them. So, we lost a couple, but we still have some in savings or whatever you want to consider it. I have not pulled up the total revenue on there, because in case you wanted to do any adjustments. What is that called? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the sixth column. The sixth column is, what was the actual that we spent last year for like the current budget. So if you wanted to compare them across, I did do a 3% raise on stuff. Like, let's see. Fire runs, I still left it at 0
you said the 24-25 estimated actual column is what we actually spent,
Yes, that's actual amounts.
and the one before, the adjusted actual, is that what was budgeted?
That was like a proposed budget for like when we submitted it.
So we submitted a budget with payroll for 41,000, and we spent 83,000.
Well, the
Am I reading that
83,000,
right?
that is where you look at the payroll.
General fund payroll is about halfway down the page, and the second
The-
line under expenditures.
The general fund, that's all of the payroll because of, that's all the payroll combined.
I just wanna make sure
That's
I'm
another
reading
thing.
this right.
Yes,
So we
yes.
budgeted for 41,000, we spent 83,000.
Yes, because that is part of, half of that is utility side.
Yep.
So as far as the records are concerned, like when you look it up, that's when it shows that like my side spent, but it hasn't showed yet on reimbursements.
And we spent $300 in library payroll, that can't be right, can it?
Yes, because Janilee wanted, Janilee's checks, the system had messed up and we had to write her a paper check. So that was, during the time that our checks are automatically deposited into her account. Hers didn't get automatically deposited, it was messed up, the system did something to where I had to write her that check.
Right, but then where's the rest of the library payroll that we actually
It
spent?
is mixed in with the general fund.
This general fund,
Yeah,
gotcha.
because of the deposit, the automatic deposits. There's an adjustment, like when I was going through here doing this, there's notes that I wrote for myself, to go back and fix it. That's kind of why some of the places are highlighted, to remind myself to go back, like the payroll. I have to go in and print out each individual department's payroll, so I can go back and separate these and allocate them where they're supposed to be
And
allocated.
we'll have them
Yes,
on the
and that
next.
will- And as soon as I get that done, even though our next meeting is the 20th, I will email that out to you guys, so you guys have a chance to look over it, see if I missed something, or something don't look right, or
You don't
whatever.
need these back, do you?
No, that's your copy.
Because it looks like then we still budgeted for under 50,000, we still spent 33,000 over on payroll.
You'll have to show me which,
Well, I just added up the check for the individual check plus the,
where,
just in case, plus the budgeted 7,000 for the library and 41,000 for the general fund, and that comes to $48,976.
you're gonna have to show me what column you're talking about.
She's here. The 41,000.
Yeah, that's like the last year before. That's like what we guesstimated that our payroll would be. That is what our payroll actually was, because it's all mixed into one. It's all allocated one, and then this is what next year's payroll, just for general fund, not for a combined, because it will be getting separated.
Okay.
And then that also
Yep.
goes for,
So I guess
payroll.
the reason why I'm asking is just because if we spent $83,000 on payroll this year plus 300, so 83,829. And then if we combine the library and the general fund payroll projected for this next year, that's only 51,000. So if we know we're gonna spend $83,000 in payroll, why are we only budgeting $51,000?
Because some of that payroll is for contract labor and is allocated to other areas on the payroll. And, let me see. There's something else on there, 'cause I thought it was on there.
Because you have contract
And I think
labor
that's
only
also,
$350 budgeted.
that's also part of, code enforcement payroll that we're having. There's other payroll that is mixed in with that 83,000.
Code enforcement bureaus, no?
No, it was like 400 a month or whatever, so there's other,
Is that it?
Yeah,
or
so
400 a
5,000
paycheck,
a year.
800 a month. So that's what I'm saying, like the payroll all got lumped into, the general fund account, so I need to allocate it, separate it, and allocate it to the right, department.
What
So
is
there's
the-
actual numbers there for that department.
What's the cleat penalty fee at the bottom of the first
Those
page?
are monthly fees that we have to pay, CLEAT fees, OSBI, which is APIS and forensic.
Right.
Those are monthly payments that we have to make for whatever process citations for that month, we have to pay fees for that.
So it's not a penalty that we're paying?
No, they're just
Okay.
called penalty fees, yeah.
Yeah, every time someone, an officer writes a ticket, they take money out of that ticket and pays for that.
Yeah.
always kind of thrown that in there just in case something happens, cause we've done like, they've made t-shirts one year for like the court clerk or, the other utility, which that would be on the utility side or whatever, but just kind of put that in there so it's allocated for that in case something happens and they do something. And then that way we don't have to go back and do amendments or whatever, it's already kind of covered. And if we don't use it, then it's not a big deal.
Attorney fees, $4,500 is what it is for the year.
I was in the summer.
Second page about 12, 20, 15.
Yeah, and the numbers that I got off of here was from July 1 of 24 to May of this year, so it doesn't count June. But that's the attorney fees that we have paid from July 1st to May 31st of this year.
Right.
Our first attorney was $300 a month, and then Stephanie was $750.
Right.
So,
Because I mean, if we pay $750 a month for a meeting times 4, that would be $9,000. So
yeah, that would be, that was
the
the next, yeah, well, that's what we currently pay this year, but the new year for the attorney fees, for the
Are you off the line? And who's the auditor?
The auditor is Casey Russell, and I put $10,000 there, because he's doing 2 audits, and he has in his contract that he's only charging for the first 2 $5,000 fees. So I know eventually in the next fiscal year, we should only have to do that. Okay.
So what else do we have in the reviews and subscriptions and I put, did I see the first stuff that we want?
$2,500 for a brand new one.
Yeah, I think
That's a 40-footer too.
Okay, so I move that we approve the oral report today. And we'll report.
James, second.